I'll be the monster you've been wanting, but they will see me when I'm coming. I'll be laughing while you're running. Oh, you won't see me when I'm coming. ¿Qué pasó? What's up? What's up? Thank you for coming back for another review of Power Book 2, Ghost. And it was hot sex, mediocre sex, and sex. And what the hell it was Tariq doing in this episode. And we are going to get into this. Tariq is in the building of Mr. Stearns, and he gets a phone call from Monet to discuss the terms of doing business with her. The rule is, number 1, always pay the amount discussed, period. 2, always pay on time. If you short, that is on you. Rule number 3, always pay in cash. He like, yo, I got this. This is what you calling me for? So he goes into the meeting to get his app developed, and it is not Mr. Stern, but his husband, Mr. Kamal Stern. I was like, yo, Mr. Stern husband look like he could be his great-great-grandchild. What is up with that? Yo, he looks so young. I swear to you. So Tariq is discussing the app, and now they get to the percentage. Mr. Stern husband wants 15%, and Tariq was able to discuss it down to 5% of the profit that he would get when the app is blowing up. So I was like, Tariq did a good job negotiating the percentage down to 5%. That was a really good business move. Tariq is back on campus, and he gets a call from his mother to go get a piece. And he like, where can I go get a piece from? And she tell him one of the drop spots from Tommy and Ghost, where they would normally hide their piece at. So Professor Reynolds is in class talking about the literature The Prince and what is the meaning of it. The Prince is about an inheritance of taking over a kingdom by a great ruler and making it even greater. It's about war, betrayal, and alliances. The important thing that you're going to learn about the Prince is to strike out your enemies all together and all at once. And I said this literature relates to Tariq, because this is what Tariq is going through at this moment. The great ruler was Ghost, and now Tariq is stepping into that throne to be a greater ruler. The question is, can Tariq be that great ruler? And my answer is no. Absolutely not. So what do you think about that? You have Professor Oliver and Professor Milgrams comes into the class to announce their fellowship, and it's an all-paid expense to Washington, D.C., and they will get credit for their course, and they will be able to graduate early. I was like, this is a great program, and where can I sign up for this program? I want this program for myself. And it seems like Lauren is very interested in this program, and she actually goes up to talk to Professor Reynolds, and while he's talking to Lauren, Professor Reynolds is actually coming off as a creep squad. He just giving me creep vibes. And you see Professor Milgram standing in the corner, peeping everything that they saying. Lauren actually invites him to her parents' house for dinner, and he declines this offer and tell him to invite Professor Milgrams to the dinner and another student. And Tariq actually volunteered his services to be an op because he's also interested in the program as well. Lauren did not seem happy about Tariq coming to her parents' house, and the only reason Tariq is interested in going is because he want to graduate early. Monet and Kane is having a meeting with the GT crew, and she tells Little Guap that she's cutting their supply, and Little Guap is not happy about that. And when she turns away, Little Guap calls her a little Spanish curse word. And she heard that and she said, "¿Qué?" She said, "Say it to my face, partner." Yo, Little Guap looked like he was hesitant to say it, but as he was about to say it again, Kane demolished his face. And his crew stands there and watch and basically does nothing. And one was about to do something and she was like, "Are you sure about that?" Yo, I do not want a crew like that. I don't care. If you roll with me, we supposed to be in this together. If I'm fighting, you fight with me. Hello. You ain't gonna let nobody just be beating me up and then you're not gonna do nothing. Yo. And I said Little Guap should have been blocking his face. That's why you have him black. You heard? I just say. I like, dude, boy, use your hand, block your face, boy. God damn. Then you have Monet patting Kane on the back for destroying Little Guap's face, like that was some kind of accomplishment or something. Tariq's roommate Braden is freaking out, and in my last video I've been calling him Gianni, which is his real name, which I like that name better than Brandon. Not Brandon, Braden, and which I like that name better than Braden. I like Gianni. I think Gianni is a nice name. So he is freaking out about getting his butt whipped by Scott. And Tariq tell him to calm his butt down because nothing is going to happen to him. And Tariq is basically saying, "You getting on my nerve right now. Please calm down. Calm your butt down right now." Tariq tells Braden about the plan on how the app is going to work. If the students want to order different kind of drugs, and how is it going to be delivered, and which link represents which drug. In the process of the launching of the app, you see how successful the app is working. Everybody is ordering and people are telling by the word of mouth, and people are just buying. When they buy a paper, the product is going to be in there with the paper. And Braden calls him a genius. And you see Tariq on top of the school just looking down at all his success and his glory and his marvelous works, that he has a smirk on his face like he's really doing something. This idea is not a new idea. This concept was also in the movie Dope, where the guy was selling product online through CDs, through the black market. So to me, that's a correlation to Dope in this show right now of Tariq concept. Tariq is in business mode. He's collecting up money. He's giving out the precision to Mr. Kamal Stern, and he's giving the money where the money should be to everybody. And you have his roommate Braden just throwing the money up in the air, and the success is going to their head. And I said, this is how people get caught, because they let the success go to their head and they start making mistakes. Ugh. And this is where you could tell they are young, because they acting their age. Tariq pays David McLean a visit to pay him to defend his mother. And Tariq is like, what am I paying you for? Because I'm not seeing no real results. When you go swing at sacks, don't miss. And David McLean reassured that he won't. And Paula is asking him, where do you think he getting all this money? He's into something that's not legal. And I'm like, why do she care? Because Paula ain't a goody two-shoe herself. Tasha is in prison and she is highly upset because she is aware that somebody is watching her, and she goes tell the lady that she gave the blue morning after pill to, and the lady gets up and say that is a you problem. Yeah, so disrespectful, so disrespectful. And she think it's the female CEO. I'm going to need Tasha to calm down with her anxiety, and I need her to think. And when she sit in the lunchroom, I need her to look up and look at all windows. And when you keep seeing the same face staring at you, you might have a clue who might be watching you. But do not get too worked up where you can't think straight. So I hope she find out sooner or later who the corporate is, who's giving Lorenzo all this information in the prison. Davis McLean goes before the court to have Cooper Sachs removed from the case because he had a conflict of interest with the St. Patricks. And the judge is willing to hear Mr. McLean witnesses that he will bring in to hear about why he should be removed from the case. The whole Tejada sibling family is in the kitchen, and Kane is telling them what happened that earlier. And Monet overhears them and comes in, and she gives them news that Tariq St.Patrick is their new business partner. And Kane is highly upset. Diana is shocked, and Drew want to know why him. And Monet actually get her children's opinion. Drew said he's smart. Diana said, see how he move his weight. She actually takes her children's opinion into consideration. And what I get from Kane is that he is jealous of Tariq because he is more in the spotlight and Kane is in the back. Monet sends Drew to find out what he know about how Tariq is moving all this weight. And Kane wanna go. Monet don't let Kane go because he does not fit the profile of an Ivy League student to get into the school. And Kane is upset because he feel like the bond with his mother is being broken because she's making decisions without him, and he want to be included in those decisions. And she tell him to basically stay in his lane because this is all you are good for. That is crazy. I would never want to encourage my children that they only good in one thing. I want to encourage my children that they could do anything in all aspects in their life for them to grow. That's just me and my thoughts. Drew shows up to Tariq's apartment, and Tariq asks him what is he doing here. And he said, I come to bring you some weight. And he says, I don't need no weight. And he realized that Monet sent him to spy on him. And here comes Tariq's roommate with 2 ice cream, Braden. And it seemed like Drew was very interested in Braden, to me, what I have seen. And he was like, I can't eat these 2 ice cream. I like, the devil is a liar. I would have ate both ice cream. That's just me. I would have ate both ice cream. Hold up. So Tariq heads to his art class with Drew And Tariq really don't want Drew there, but the teacher allowed him to come in. So Tariq sits afar in the classroom, and Drew meets a new male friend. And the male friend is actually flirting with Drew. And Drew seems like he's very excited. So this is where we come to the realization Drew is into the same sex, which is male. And Drew is willing to teach this guy how to draw. And while they in class, Drew takes a picture of Tariq. This information can help Tariq in the long run because he is aware that Drew is into males. So if Drew ever gets into Tariq's way, he can always dangle the chocolate man in front of Drew so to keep him out his way. Cooper Sachs is calling around to see what John Mock knows, and the cops come in with his niece Riley, who got picked up for trying to buy weed in Central Park. And she giving the cops mad lip. And Sachs is trying to talk to her that she can't be doing this, and she's being disrespectful to him and saying how his siblings don't respect him and how they call him Nancy and stuff. And Sachs like, I'm not putting up with this. I'm gonna tell your mother. And she like, no, because her mom is gonna cut her off financially. And her aunt is gonna write a blog about her. And she like, I do whatever you want. I do whatever you want. And Sachs come up with this idea for Riley, which would get him in trouble even more. Which Sachs want Riley to tell Tariq because he needs to know how he is paying Davis McLean financially. Tariq is in art class and he sees that Drew is occupied and he skips out without Drew seeing him. So we in court and the first witness is Sergeant Blanca Rodriguez, and she gives her testimony, and Cooper Sachs held it down. He was like, you was no better than me, but did exactly what I did, and you signed off on it. And Davis McLean was looking crazy right now. Looking real crazy. And the judge said that she was going to send the court transcript to her supervisor. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. So, do you think Sergeant Blanca Rodriguez is going to get in trouble for this information? So, the next witness will be Rashad Tate. And the judge is going to get a subpoena for him to testify to see what transactions actually happened between Cooper Sachs and Rashad Tate. Councilman Rashad Tate actually goes to the political party to make the subpoena go away. He don't want to testify, and they actually coerce him to what to say when he go before the judge. And he better not speak negative on James St. Patrick. You dig? So we at the laundromat and Tariq actually get the piece. Tariq need to be careful with this piece because it like is powerful, and do he know how to use it? Yes, he might have shot someone before with a piece, but this one looks different to me. Tariq phone is blowing up. He gets a text from Paula. He gets a text from Lauren to remind him dinner is at 7. And then he gets a call from his roommate saying that they have no more supply because this thing is blowing up and it's gonna be a closed and shut business. And he need more weight. Drew goes back to the young man's dorm and it gets heated. The man takes off his shirt and Drew starts touching his abs and everything. And the man is explaining his tattoos. And the man puts Drew onto the wall. And they just going at it, child. And get interrupted by Tariq because he need more product. And Drew called Diana to go deliver the product because he is occupied at this moment. Tariq goes back to his apartment and Paula is waiting for him. She want to know what is Tariq into, and she want the money wired to an account. And he was like, I thought you said you wanted cash up front. As he put the money in the bag, Paula actually sees this weapon in the bag and goes into the room. So he goes into the room and actually calls Mr. Stern's husband, saying that the agreement needs to change and he needs half in cash and half wired to another account. And this is where Mr. Stern's husband take advantage of Tariq because he upped the percentage to 15% and Tariq actually agrees to it. I said, if you're going to be in this business, Tariq need to be stern because he's getting pushed over by people. Like with the lawyer. They said they want cash. There is no going back. You get cash. There is no wiring. Because at least with cash, you could come up with a good explanation how you are paying for that. But if you paying through a wire account, you have to prove what business is that coming from. Him to get that into the account. And they is going to look into this Course Correct app more thoroughly, and they gonna have a more eye on it to see what is happening. He being pushed over by Mr. Stern's husband with the 15%. He should have nipped that in the bud and said, I would take my business elsewhere if you cannot agree to the 5% rule. Rashad Tate actually testified and admits that he lied to Cooper Sacks, but Cooper Sacks did not tell him to lie or coerce him to lie. And Davis McClain feel once again small because people are changing, because Councilman Tate is changing his story and Davis McClain know he is lying about it. And at this point, Cooper Sacks feel like he got victory and things is actually going in his favor. It looked like Tariq is basically wasting his money with Davis McClain. That's what it looked like to me. At this point, Drew is in the shower and he's taking a shower from his extra activities. And his mom asked him, what did he find out? And he said he hasn't found out nothing. And Monet actually thinks that's good because he's being careful. And she asks him where the money is. When she goes to get the money, she finds a drawing of the man with no head. And she goes in the bathroom and give him a speech. Like there's no man in this world that's gonna be like their family. And the father always thought he was soft, but she didn't think so. And he could always come home and he could rely on his family. But I think Drew is aware that his mother knows that he is into men. It is dinner time at Lauren's house and Professor Milgram shows up. And then you see Professor McReynolds. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit what he did. Because he said he was not going to attend. And there he go. He shows up there. I'm like, sir, why are you here for? Why are you here? Yo, that got on my nerves what he did. Because you said you was not coming. And then now you here. And I said Professor McReynolds was being petty at that point. Tariq actually arrives and he's late. But he goes sit down at the dinner and everybody seems to be having a lovely time. And then you got Carrie and Jabari going at it like 12-year-old children. Child. That scene was petty. Yo, he was like, Carrie, no, this is McClain. And she like, his book came and went. Just came and went. That jag really hurt Jabari feelings. He was hurt after that. When she said his book came and went. I said, this is an example of why you don't get involved with people you work with. Because they would have you looking crazy in these streets, though. Yo! And they discussed the philosophy of the book. And Tariq thoughts was that it shows him is how to get what you want in a more effective way. And when dealing with your enemies, you should always face your enemies head on, then rather them storm the castle. I said that's somewhat, but I really don't agree. Every situation is different. I feel like to deal with your enemies, you need a strategy plan. And every plan does not work the same for every enemy. Due to Jabari and Carrie's bickering, Lauren takes Tariq upstairs to find the book, and she actually talks about her brother and how the brother got so much pressure to how to do good. He actually led him to do drugs and led him into a psych ward. And she explains why she needs this fellowship because she want to get away from her parents, and she don't want the same thing happen to her that happened to her brother. And Tariq actually reassures her that it's not gonna happen, and they actually makes out. And her mom calls her downstairs, and it is her boyfriend from DC, Malcolm. Malcolm actually thinks Tariq is Jamal. He was like, "It's glad to meet you, Jamal." That was funny when he was calling Jamal. But Tariq felt some kind of way, and he just bounced without telling nobody that he actually left his jacket at her house. And she felt some kind of way too. Professor Milgram and Professor Reynolds are in the office. They arguing about their relationship and stuff like that. And they actually driving me up the wall. I said, that man is, I feel like they both crazy and they both toxic for each other. I feel like Jabari is Carrie's kryptonite. She can't stay away from him. And he is very damaging for her as in a relationship. So as they argue, she pulled down the man's clothes, throw him on the thing. She takes off her clothes, and Jabari looking like a dog. And he like, I'm ready now. When you gonna get the ride in me? And she begins to ride him. They said the crazy ones give the best sex. I tell you, that's what they say. So we at the party. Riley comes up to Tariq, and Tariq already knows something is up. So he walks away because she says, "Oh, did anybody ever say you have dark energy?" Who the hell says that to somebody? I don't know. But he actually goes upstairs to the balcony, and he tells the guy that his roommate have drugs, and starts a fight between Scott and his roommate. And I'm like, why is the roommate wearing a pink jacket? And Riley actually like this. So Scott and Braden is going back and forth, and they breaks up the fight, and Riley actually gets a picture of Tariq. I said Sachs is already in hot water with the court because David McClain is trying to get her removed. I said Cooper Sachs is going gonna be in big trouble if it comes back that Riley is related to Saxe and she took that picture because David McClain already trying to get him removed from the case because he's obsessed with the St. Patrick family. And I believe this is going to get Saxe fired. And David McClain and Paula are sex partners. And this scene was cringing because David McClain looked like he a bad sex partner to me. He just look bad. I don't know. I just get bad sex from him. And it comes out that he is a married man. And I said this is where Paula can't be talking no mess. Because, ladies, you sleeping with a married man. Let's get this together. You ain't no better than Tariq, no better than Tasha. Okay? So, I don't want to hear where he getting his money from. So, we at Tamika's house. And a man delivered her flowers. And she think a man sent her flowers, which is by David McClain. And McClain actually sent the flowers, but she actually got served to testify before the judge. And she like, God damn it. And I feel like Tariq is out of control. And he's making the success go to his head. And it's going to get him in a world of trouble. And I believe he got to put his roommate through the test. Because if things really happen, we got to see if he's going to bend and fold. And what will he say to the po if he ever get caught? And also, I think it was a wrong idea to start the fight between Scott and his roommate because he could have used Scott as a decoy in this business so they could look towards him and they could have used that as an advantage. So, like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate it.
Hey, we don't run, we don't bend, we don't fold. Where my gangsters at? Where my gangsters at? Where my gangsters at?